Hey, what's going on everybody out there? My name is Jakejames Lugo and welcome to the channel. So Crash Bandicoot is a memorable mascot from the PlayStation era that a lot of people resonated with, especially if you grew up with games like Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3. And luckily for us, Vicarious Visions has decided to reimagine the Crash trilogy from the PlayStation 1 era and bring it into a whole new generation on the modern day consoles. What we got here is not only a game that feels nostalgic, but also looks very freaking good by today's standards. So without further ado, let's actually talk about the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy for the PlayStation 4.
The Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy is a remastering of the first three Crash games from the PlayStation 1. All three games, Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back, and Crash Bandicoot Warped, get a total visual overhaul and re-released together in one collection. But while the graphics are completely redone, these are still the original Crash games that became so popular back in the day. The controls, the visuals, the sounds, and even the hidden goodies are what you remember, but with a bit more flair. Some things have aged a bit better than others, but all three games are phenomenal staples of their time. There are a few things changed up here and there that make the games a little better, but this is authentic Crash Bandicoot. No gimmick, no nonsense, just straight up hardcore Crash.
Now I'm going to be totally honest with you guys, Crash Bandicoot 2 is the best one out of this entire trilogy. I know a lot of people might resonate with Crash 1 or even Crash Bandicoot Warped in some respect here and there, but for me personally, I had the most fun and I had the most vivid memories from playing Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. The reason why I think this game is the best out of all three games is because not only does it feel good and it feels probably the best out of all three games to control, but it also has the best music, it has some of the best levels, and it has some of the best story plot details, even though the stories for Crash Bandicoot games are fairly simple in nature. Now I know there could be an argument made that Crash Bandicoot Warped is a little bit much more of a definitive version of the entire trilogy, but for me personally I just feel like everything works together best in Crash Bandicoot 2. But let's talk about why these games are so good, and really it comes down to the gameplay and the controls of every single game.
The controls for classic Crash Bandicoot have always been solid. Naughty Dog, the original developers that began the series, created a near-perfect foundation of controls and gameplay that got better with each sequel. The only major gripe that I have is with the first Crash Bandicoot game is that it still feels way too stiff in comparison to Crash 2 and Crash 3. If I was going to be a nitpicker, I would say that the controls for all the games should have been made to feel like Crash 2 and 3. However, I understand the reasoning for keeping things pretty authentic to the original games, although it would have been a far better choice to make that one change in my opinion. Outside of that, however, the Crash Sane Trilogy provides a whole lot of fun and replay value across all three titles. Going through each game has a significant amount of challenge that gradually gets better as you go deeper into it, but the fun and dynamite personality of the games never loses its momentum. You might get annoyed at a few things here and there after getting through some tough jumping sections, enemies, and bosses, but Crash's over-exaggerated expressions and charms will keep you smiling throughout. Getting all the coveted gems in each game can be super tough and a heck of an accomplishment for just about anyone, but well worth the trouble of breaking every box or discovering what other secrets you could find scattered around. Overall, these are games with the design philosophies that only got better with time.
I feel like by today's standards, a lot of the Crash Bandicoot games are really challenging, and a lot of people might be turned off by how challenging they could actually be. However, I still feel like that they're fair in nature. They're not something too crazy or anything too impossible to really kind of get over going from beginning to end. And if anything, they're really fun to play. I feel like it's a good balance between challenge and fun factor, where you're not only progressing at a good steady pace as you go through each level and try to find the crystals and the gems and all this different stuff, but you're also kind of dealing with challenges that are being thrown at you without being too overwhelmed in nature. One of the things that I find now these days with difficulty in a lot of modern games is that they tend to overwhelm you a lot with different challenges or over-absorbent amount of enemies and all this different stuff that gets thrown at you so fast, rather than that gradual climb. For games like Crash Bandicoot, and even you could argue with games like Mega Man and even Super Mario Bros., there's that gradual increase in difficulty while still trying to maintain that fun factor that keeps you invested throughout the entire experience. Now, while the Crash Bandicoot trilogy has always been colorful and had a lot of wacky designs, we have to talk about the whole big upgrade that you get with the Sane Trilogy, which I think is really phenomenal in almost every respect. I really dig what Vicarious Visions did with the Crash Sane Trilogy because not only it still keeps the essence of the character, especially with its original design, as well as the original designs of all the other characters, bosses, and allies included, but it still kind of, injects a whole new life into a series that a lot of people thought was dead for a very long time. Before the Crash Sane Trilogy came out, there was a lot of other Crash Bandicoot games that were not great whatsoever. There were a lot of other games that were released before Crash Sane Trilogy, but a lot of them weren't really all that great. They really lost the essence essence of what made the character and what made the series so fun to play in the first place. The games got caught up in all these different stuff like gimmicks and such here and there, but really Crash Bandicoot, the reason why it's so good, it comes down to solid gameplay, solid controls, simple story, simple premise, and just go. This is what I feel like a lot of people resonated with Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3 on the PlayStation 1, and what Naughty Dog really put an emphasis on even in some of the spin-off games including Crash Bash and Crash Team Racing. But now let's talk about some of the other extra content that I feel like is really cool with the Sane Trilogy, and also a couple little things that are a little bit annoying.
The big changes to the Crash trilogy outside of the visuals are pretty welcomed. In Crash Bandicoot 1 and in Crash Bandicoot 2, you have the ability to play as Crash's sister Coco, just like in Crash Bandicoot Warped. You gain the ability to use her after discovering her early in the game, which is implemented in a very goofy way. What's cool is that Coco gets her own animations and goofy moments just like Crash does in the stages. In addition to this, we also get a stage called Stormy Ascent, which is a super challenging stage that was cut from the first game before its release. Outside of that, many of the other additions are small quality of life changes, such as the ability to save at any time in the first Crash game. It's things like this that make remasters of classic titles really stand out, because they give something to the total experience that makes it overall much better.
I think it's great that not only you're getting all three of the original games from PlayStation 1 and kind of like reimagined for a new era, but you're also getting the inclusion of Coco in all the other different levels from Crash Bandicoot 1 and 2. I think that playing as Coco in some of the levels in Crash Warped was pretty cool. Again, there was a lot of little gimmicky stuff here and there, but it was still fun to kind of control other characters that really expanded upon Crash's world. And then opening that up in the Sane Trilogy for Crash Bandicoot 1 and Crash Bandicoot 2 levels is all the more better for Crash fans that are out there. But then now we have to talk about the most annoying aspect of this thing, and that's Stormy Ascent. Now, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, and I have a really bad experience with this because I had to write the guide for the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy, and oh my god, this thing is so freaking annoying. Seriously, fuck this level, to be honest with you. It's so bad, it's so hard, it's so ridiculously difficult that it completely stands out with the rest of the actual levels in the Crash Sane Trilogy. And now I totally understand that it's part of DLC, that's part of stuff that wasn't released with the original game, for real good reasons, by the way. Even though I understand it's part of, Crash's history and stuff, fuck this level, to be totally honest with you. It's really freaking annoying, it's not fun to play. I struggled for hours trying to make a walkthrough for this damn game, for the IGN guide, by the way. It took me hours just to complete it. Seriously, I mean, look at this gameplay. I look like total ass when I'm playing it because I'm constantly dying all the freaking time. Seriously, fuck this level. It's just ass. It's garbage, son. Get this level out of here. It's so freaking annoying. For real, fuck Stormy Ascent. This level is ass, man. It's like garbage. I'm done with this, man. I'm finished. Get this out of here, man. Regardless, though, it is still cool to have these little extra stuff that Crash Bandicoot fans will really appreciate, even if they are annoying as hell. Regardless if you grew up with the Crash Bandicoot games or not, Crash Sane Trilogy is not only a great value, but it's also a fun game to play that just has 3 classic games reimagined for a new era. Crash Bandicoot had some really interesting beginnings and had an awesome marketing campaign back in the PlayStation 1 days, and it's really kind of aged pretty well, with the exception of all those other bad games that came afterwards. The original trilogy of Crash games is really the true essence of the character, and I highly encourage anybody that's never played a Crash Bandicoot game to really go back and play these games with the Sane Trilogy. They're the most best looking versions of these games out right now. They're really solid controls. Again, they've been fine-tuned here and there with a few little things that are still left intact, but they're still awesome games to play through that everybody should play at some point. Anyway, guys, that's just my thoughts on the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about Crash Bandicoot, what you think about the original Crash Trilogy, or even the Sane Trilogy that's released out now that I've reviewed, or any of the other stuff about the original PlayStation 1 games from back in the day. Don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel for all my game reviews and a whole bunch of other great vlogs and gaming related content. I've been posting up a lot lately, including my E3 2018 vlog. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. It's linked in the description box below. Also, I have to extend a big thanks to all of you guys. Thank you for 1,000 subscribers plus. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys continue to check out all my videos and continue to recommend my channel to other people as we continue to grow and do even bigger and better things here on YouTube. Also, big shout outs to Jasmine Russell for supporting me at the Beast tier level over on my Patreon page. Again, there's links in the description box below, guys. If you want to support my content, if you want some shout outs here on every single video for the entire month, like what Jasmine's getting here, you guys could definitely check out my Patreon page. Again, links in the description box below. There's a whole bunch of perks on there, a whole bunch of great stuff that I'm offering to you guys for everybody that supports me on Patreon. I will talk to you guys again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.
Thanks a ton to all of you guys for watching this video review. I really appreciate all the support I've been getting from everybody here on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel for all my great video reviews, as well as other gaming related vlogs and content that I have here on the channel. Don't forget to leave a like on this video and also comment down below with anything related to gaming or anything that's on your mind. I will talk to you guys again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.